What's going on, guys? It's Cimo. Now today I wanted to do a card discussion on Lunalight Black Sheep, because Lunalight Black Sheep has actually been making a splash in the meta in a way that you might not exactly have thought of. Now, a couple of you might have noticed this, that Jeff Jones was playing this, as well as Max Reynolds, as he talked about it in his deck profile from YCS Atlanta, and Doug Zeef did a video on it a little bit earlier today as well. That's what I get for living on the West Coast and being 3 hours behind. But I still wanted to talk about this because it's something very interesting that's shaping up right now, and that is the Lunalight Black Sheep combo with Fusion Substitute. Now, Lunalight Black Sheep, it's a dark level 2 Beast Warrior with 100 attack and 600 defense, and it has some relevant effects specifically for the Lunalight deck, which are okay, but we're mainly going to be focusing on its ability that's activated from hand, that you can discard it to add one polymerization card from your deck to hand. Now, this goes in hand in hand with Fusion Substitute. Now, Fusion Substitute is always treated as polymerization, meaning that Lunalight Black Sheep can search it, and you use fusion material monsters on your field to fusion summon a monster. But the cool thing about Fusion Substitute is that you can banish it from your graveyard, return a fusion monster from your grave to the extra deck, and draw one card. And this is where essentially the combo kind of goes off, because since Lunalight Black Sheep is a Beast Warrior, this means it has synergy with Zoodiac Broad Bull, being that Broad Bull can search it, because Broad Bull can search a Beast Warrior type monster that can be normal summoned. So that's really cool. So what I wanted to do was, I'm going to slide over here and demonstrate kind of what the old Zoodiac combo looked like, and kind of show you what the new variant of it looks like, utilizing the Zoodiac, or rather, using the Lunalight Black Sheep, as well as the Fusion Substitute. So for our first combo, you know, it's the standard Rapier combo. You're going to normal summon Rapier, send your Zoodiac combo from the graveyard, and from here, you know, you're going to do your typical shenanigans. I'm just going to put everything in attack mode just for the sake of time. So you're going to go into Tiger Mortar, you're going to detach to get a rat from deck, then you're going to upgrade into Broad Bull, and then Broad Bull is not only going to net you a search, but it's also going to net you another Rapier from the deck. In this case, we're going to search Whiptail, and then what you do is you overlay your 2 Rapiers into Digusto Emerald, and then you're also going to upgrade your Broad Bull into a Zoodiac Trident. Emerald is going to detach, you're going to shuffle back your rats, and probably your Tiger Mortar in this instance, and you're going to draw a card, which I'll illustrate just by using these blank cards right here. So this is the typical Zoodiac combo that we've pretty much come to expect. You know, there's a bunch of different variants involving things like Speedroid Terror Top to go to Invoker. You know, you've got other little variants and on little nuances that kind of alter and change the combo. But what I want to do is really show the power and potential of the Lunalight Black Sheep and Fusion Substitute combo. So just going to take a minute right here to kind of reset everything. This is going to go back over here. I'm just going to keep combo in the grave, because we're just going to assume we've normal summoned the Rapier already and sent that. So, utilizing the Fusion Substitute. So the cool thing about this is you don't even need to have it in your hand. It's actually almost better not to, because that means you're going to net more cards. So you're going to do pretty much the exact same thing that you would do with the normal Zoodiac combo. You're going to go get into your Rapiers. Now you're going to go for Broad Bull. Now, you're going to still summon your other rat like you normally would, but the difference is here, instead of using Broad Bull to search out the Whiptail like we do for the most part, you're going to search Lunalight Black Sheep. You're going to use Black Sheep's effect, discard it, and add Fusion Substitute to your hand. Now, I know these are proxies. I didn't really want to take the time to dig up a copy of either of these cards, because that would have taken forever, so just bear with me on that. So now what's really cool is, this is in your hand. So now you're going to overlay these as you normally would for Digusto Emerald, and you're going to use the effect of Emerald to get your Rapiers back into your deck, and you're probably just going to add your Tiger Mortar like you normally would, and you're going to draw yourself a card, which again I'll illustrate by these blank cards here. So now this is representing just the advantage that this one Rapier has gotten. This isn't counting the other 4 cards in your starting hand. Now, from here you're going to use the Fusion Substitute to fuse the Broad Bull and the Digusto Emerald into Elder Entity Norden. Now this is where it gets cool, because now Norden's going to trigger and you're going to resurrect Zoodiac Ratpier from your graveyard. Now you're going to overlay the two of them, and you're going to hard summon a second copy of Zoodiac Broad Bull. And why you're allowed to do this is because Zoodiac Broad Bull's effect basically is not limited, it's only limited once per turn to be overlaid on top of one Zoodiac monster. You're still allowed to hard summon it this way. So now what you do is you detach the Norden to summon a rat. Now you're not going to search with Broad Bull here. What you're going to do is you're going to overlay into Trident, and you're going to detach the Ratpier and summon the last copy of Ratpier. Now, this is the best point where we want to activate Fusion Substitute from the graveyard, mainly because of the fact that we have the most cards out of our deck possible, and the chance of us drawing a trap is going to be at its highest at this point before we go into another Daigusto Emerald. So we're going to banish Fusion Substitute, and we're going to go ahead and get Elder Entity Norden back into our extra deck, and we get to draw a card. So now we're at 2. And now what you're going to do is you're going to overlay your 2 Ratpiers for your second copy of Daigusto Emerald. And from here, you're going to basically do what you always do. You're going to shuffle back 2 rats, and you're going to shuffle back your Emerald because you're going to want to have that 4 recyclability. You can also shuffle back your first Broad Bull as well if you feel like that's a lot better. But really, it's up to you, whatever makes the most sense. So now, here's where you're at. So by running those 2 additional cards and doing a slight variation on the combo, rather than opening with a Whiptail and 1 card, you have the same 2 monsters, and you have 3 additional cards that could possibly be traps, which in this deck, especially when you're considering mirror matches, having this sort of advantage can be absolutely crazy. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, well, what are the chances of opening, Fusion Substitute or the Lunalight Black Sheep? And well, the chances of opening either one of these is about 24%, which is a little bit high. I mean, that's basically, 1 in 4 if you just want to simplify it. So 1 out of 4 games, you're more than likely going to draw one of these cards. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, and I'm going to show you why. So let's say, for instance, we have our Ratpier, but we also open the Black Sheep. Well, what's really cool about this is now we actually don't have to use our search from Broad Bull to get the Black Sheep, and we can actually get a Whiptail instead. So just to quickly demonstrate, I'll go through it again a little bit quicker than I was before. So again, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to get out your rats. And again, remember, this is all in addition to having 3 extra cards in your hand as well, which is absolutely crazy because you're already netting so much advantage from this 1 combo alone that the fact that you already have this is just nuts. So at this point, we're just going to discard the Black Sheep, and we're going to get the Fusion Substitute. We're going to overlay these for the Emerald like we did before. Going to detach. We're going to shuffle back, these 3 like we have always. Get that back in the extra deck. We're going to draw us a card. We have Fusion Substitute in our hand, which we're now going to activate to send both of these to the graveyard for Norden. And then Norden is going to resurrect the Ratpier. Now from here, we're going to hard make our Broad Bull like we did before. Broad Bull's going to activate detaching Norden because you want to make sure you can still summon your rats. I still can't believe rats not once per turn, by the way. This just goes to show how ridiculous this is. Now on Trident, you want to make sure you detach the rat because you want to be able to shuffle back 2 rats for when you make your second Emerald. Now again, you want to banish your Fusion Substitute at this point to shuffle Norden back into the extra deck to draw a card. Shuffle it back, return it to the extra deck. And then you're going to make your second Daigusto Emerald like we did before in the previous combo. And then, like I said, you're more than likely going to want to shuffle back your first Daigusto Emerald just so you can keep cycling and doing that. So by actually having the Fusion Substitute or the Lunalight Black Sheep in hand, not only do we get 3 cards, but we also get to search for the Whiptail in addition to that. So that's really, really cool. Now, looking at some of the downsides of this, what the worst case scenario is if you open both Lunalight Black Sheep and Fusion Substitute, which has about a 1.3% chance of occurring, so it's pretty unlikely that it's going to happen, but if you open both, it can be bad because it's basically just a dead card. But what's really cool about this engine as well is that this is just in pure Zoodiac. If you're actually playing a deck that actually revolves around the fusion mechanics, so say you're playing like Zoodiac Shaddoll, for instance, or even Invoked Zoodiac, that's a much more popular variant, I would say, right now. That means you can actually use the Fusion Substitute for other plays than just doing this typical thing. And it also adds some versatility and flexibility to a card like Norden, which normally we're only using a copy or two of Instant Fusion to special summon out of the extra deck to be able to utilize. So not only do we get to reuse Norden because it's getting returned back with Fusion Substitute, but it just gives us another basically use for a card in our extra deck that was much more linear to begin with. You know, typically it was just like an extra Daigusto Emerald, maybe an extra Broad Bull or a Gaga Samurai or something like that. It was basically a free rank 4, but this gives us much more use out of a card in our extra deck, making it much more viable. Now, I think the biggest thing that this argument boils down to is, do you want to run 2 potentially dead cards in place of 2 really good cards? Because if you think about it, if you draw the Lunalight Black Sheep or if you draw the Fusion Substitute, then that could be like a Solemn Warning or a Solemn Strike or a Torrential Tribute or whatever specific trap disruption options you wish to run. You could have just been running those instead of running the Black Sheep or the Fusion Substitute. So really what it comes down to is, the biggest crux of the argument, I guess, is it worth it to run these 2 cards that possibly hurt your consistency on a very minor level to be able to grant you all this options to be able to just draw a ton more cards, almost similar to the Coach Captain Bearman combo, but I would actually say is a little bit more consistent because I'd say Lunalight Black Sheep and Fusion Substitute are probably not as dead of cards compared to Coach Captain Bearman. But ultimately, that's a decision I want to leave up to you guys. I just wanted to share with you this really cool combo that the OCG is kind of known about, but the TCG is slowly starting to adopt because, you know, the further we get into Zoodiac format, the more people are going to adapt, the more people are going to learn, and the more you need to stay ahead of the game. But that's it, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. If you liked the video, be sure to like the video as always. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content, and also be sure to back me on Patreon, because by pledging $1 a month, you're investing in my ability to continue bringing you amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. So thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.